I didn't even hear the lock click. I just stood there on my own doorstep at 9 in the evening, my key hovering in midair, useless. The deadbolt had been changed. Through the frosted glass panel, I could see movement. My heart hammered. Someone was in my house. Then the door swung open, and there stood my mother-in-law, Patricia, wearing my favorite apron, the one my late mother had embroidered with tiny bluebirds. "Oh, Maya," she said, her voice dripping with false concern. "Didn't Ryan tell you? We decided it would be better if I answered the door from now on. After all, this is really his home too, isn't it?" My hands were shaking. I'd just gotten back from a week-long conference in Austin, pitching software solutions to 3 major clients. I was exhausted. My feet hurt from the heels I'd worn for presentations, and all I wanted was to collapse on my couch in my own house that my own parents had left me when they died. The house where I'd grown up. The house with my mother's bluebird apron and my father's workshop in the garage, and every single memory I had of them. "Patricia," I said slowly, "why did you change my locks?" She smiled. That smile. The one that never reached her cold blue eyes. "Ryan's locks, dear. And I think you'll find that legally, since you two are married, this house belongs to both of you now. Community property and all that." Ryan explained it to me. "Now, are you going to stand out there all night, or are you coming in?" I made pot roast, Ryan's favorite. That was 8 months ago. Let me back up and tell you how I got here, standing on my own porch while my mother-in-law wore my dead mother's apron and told me what was legally mine. My name is Maya Chen. I'm 29 years old, and I'm a senior software engineer at a tech firm in San Francisco. My parents, David and Lynn Chen, were immigrants who came here with nothing and built a beautiful life. My dad was a contractor, my mom was a nurse. They saved every penny and bought a small house in the Sunset District in 1985, when you could still afford to do that on a contractor's and nurse's salary. When I was 18, they were driving home from a dinner celebrating my acceptance to UC Berkeley. A drunk driver ran a red light. They died instantly. The house, their life insurance, everything came to me. I was an only child. I had no aunts or uncles in the country. I was completely alone. I threw myself into school, into work, into building a life they would have been proud of. By 27, I was making $120,000 a year. I'd paid off the house. I'd renovated the kitchen. I'd turned my dad's workshop into a home office. I was successful, independent, and so incredibly lonely. Then I met Ryan Park at a work mixer. He was 33, handsome in a boyish way, with an easy smile, and a sales job at a pharmaceutical company. He made $65,000 a year, which was fine. I didn't care about money. What drew me to him was how he listened when I talked about my parents, how he held my hand when I cried on the anniversary of their death, how he said I'd never have to be alone again. "I want to give you the family you lost," he whispered when he proposed 6 months later. "My mom can't wait to have a daughter. You'll see, Maya. We're going to be a real family." I should have paid attention to that phrasing. My mom can't wait. Not I can't wait, but I was so desperate for family, for belonging, for someone to call on holidays and someone to cook for and someone to tell me I was doing okay. I said yes. The wedding was small. Ryan's mother, Patricia, insisted on planning everything. "You poor dear, with no mother to help you," she cooed, patting my hand. "Let me take care of everything. After all, I've been dreaming about my son's wedding for 33 years. Red flag number 1. She seated herself in the front row where my mother should have been. When I gently mentioned that perhaps Ryan's aunt could sit there, Patricia's eyes went hard. "I think I know where a mother sits at her son's wedding, Maya. Unless you have a mother to object?" She smiled sweetly. I didn't think so. The first month of marriage was wonderful. Ryan was attentive, loving, everything I'd hoped for. Then Patricia called. "Sweetheart, my lease is up next month, and my landlord is raising the rent $800. Can you believe it? At my age, they're trying to price me out. I'm on a fixed income from teaching for 30 years, and these greedy landlords don't care." Ryan and I were talking, and we thought maybe I could stay with you two for a few months while I look for something more affordable. You have that spare bedroom just sitting empty anyway. I looked at Ryan. He was nodding eagerly. "It's just temporary, babe. She's my mom. We can't let her end up on the street." 6 months later, Patricia was still in my spare bedroom, the bedroom that had been my childhood room. She'd removed all my things, the photos of my parents, my old bookshelf, my debate team trophies, all this clutter, she'd said. I need space for my things. And her things multiplied. Her toiletries took over the bathroom. Her food filled the refrigerator. She rearranged my kitchen because a woman of my experience knows where things should go. She threw out my mother's china because these old patterns are so dated, and honestly, Maya, half of them were chipped. I came home one day to find my mother's china in the garbage. Not the recycling. The garbage, shattered into pieces. "Oh, that," Patricia said when I stood there crying. "I'm sorry, dear, but I dropped the box when I was organizing. Accidents happen. You're not going to be one of those wives who cries over broken dishes, are you?" Ryan hates drama. Ryan, who had appeared in the doorway, looked uncomfortable. "Mom didn't mean it, Maya. And honestly, we needed the cabinet space. Mom has some really nice serving pieces we can use instead." That night, lying in bed, I whispered, "Ryan, I need my house back. Your mom has been here 6 months. She needs to find her own place." He rolled over. 6 months? That's nothing. My mom took care of me for 33 years. The least we can do is help her out. Besides, she's family now. Your family. Isn't that what you wanted? That's when the money demands started. "Maya, dear, I was thinking," Patricia said one morning over coffee. "You make quite a good living, and Ryan works so hard in sales, but men need spending money. How about you give Ryan an allowance? Say, $3,000 a month? That way he doesn't have to bother you every time he needs something." I stared at her. "Ryan has access to our joint account. He can use the credit card whenever he wants. But it's not the same as having his own money, is it? A man needs to feel like a provider, not like he's asking permission from his wife. It's emasculating." She sipped her coffee. "In my day, wives handled the household money, but we always made sure our husbands felt like men." Ryan had been listening from the living room. He came in, looking sheepish. "She has a point, Maya. Sometimes I feel weird using your money." "It's our money," I said firmly. "We're married." "Exactly," Patricia jumped in, "which is why you shouldn't have any problem with this. Unless you're one of those controlling wives who wants to keep her husband on a short leash." I didn't give him an allowance. But the comments kept coming. "Ryan's shoes are so worn out. Can't you buy him new ones?" Ryan mentioned wanting to take a golf vacation with his college friends. Are you really going to say no? A wife who loves her husband makes sure he's provided for. Then came the medical bills. Patricia collapsed in my kitchen one afternoon. I called 911, rode with her to the hospital, held her hand while they ran tests. "Severe dehydration," they said. "Low potassium. Nothing life-threatening, but she needed to stay overnight for observation." The bill came to $15,000. Our insurance covered most of it, but the deductible and co-pays came to $3,200. "Maya, sweetheart, I simply don't have that kind of money," Patricia said when I showed her the bill. "My teacher's pension barely covers my medication. You'll have to pay it." "Patricia, this is your medical bill. Don't you have savings?" She drew herself up. "How dare you question my finances? I raised a son on a teacher's salary, and every penny went to making sure Ryan had what he needed. I have nothing left. But that's what family does, Maya. They sacrifice for each other. Or doesn't that mean anything to you?" Ryan sided with his mother. "Just pay it, Maya. She doesn't have the money." "But Ryan, $3,000? You have it. I've seen our account. What's the problem?" I paid it. What choice did I have? The next month, Patricia needed new glasses. $800. The month after that, she needed dental work. $2,400. Then her car needed repairs. $1,900. Every month, there was something. And every month, Ryan looked at me with those wounded eyes and said, "She's my mother. What am I supposed to do?" Then Patricia started shopping. Expensive organic groceries, $500 every week. "Designer clothes for church," she said. "A $2,000 coat because I'm in California now, but I still get cold." When I gently mentioned that maybe she could cut back, she exploded. "Cut back? Cut back? Do you know what I've sacrificed for Ryan? I worked 2 jobs to send him to college. I went without so he could have new clothes, new shoes, a car. I gave him everything. And now that I'm old and tired, you begrudge me a coat? What kind of heartless woman did my son marry? Ryan found me crying in our bedroom. Why do you always upset her, Maya? She's an old woman. Just let her buy what she needs. Ryan, she's spending thousands of dollars a month. This is unsustainable. You make $120,000 a year, Maya. We're not exactly struggling. We're not struggling because I'm paying for everything. Your salary barely covers your car payment and your own spending. His face darkened. So that's what this is about. You think you're better than me because you make more money? You think I'm not good enough? I never said that. You didn't have to. Every time my mother needs something, you bring up money. Like it's more important than family. Like you're keeping score. He grabbed his jacket. I'm going to my mother's room. At least she doesn't make me feel like a failure. I sat alone in the bedroom I'd grown up in the house my parents had left me, and wondered how my life had become so small. But it got worse. 3 months later, Ryan approached me while I was working on a quarterly report. Babe, I was thinking, this house is in your name, right? I looked up from my laptop. Yes, my parents left it to me. Right, but we're married now. Isn't it kind of weird that it's only your name? I mean, I live here too. I'm your husband. Shouldn't we be equal partners? My stomach dropped. Ryan, this was my childhood home. My parents are dead, Maya. He said it flatly. They're dead, and you're married now. To me. Don't you think it's time to stop living in the past and start thinking about our future? Our family? What does this have to do with the house being in my name? I want you to put my name on the deed. 50-50. That's what married couples do. They share everything. No. He looked stunned. No? This house is mine. It's all I have left of my parents. It's not about you. It's about them. His face went red. So I'm not even worth a house to you. Got it. Good to know where I stand. He didn't speak to me for 3 days. Patricia filled the silence. Maya, Ryan is devastated, absolutely devastated. He told me how you refused to even consider making him feel secure in his own home. Do you know how that feels? To live somewhere every day knowing your wife doesn't trust you enough to put your name on it? It's not about trust. Of course it is. If you trusted him, if you loved him, you wouldn't hesitate. But I can see what this is really about. You want to make sure you have an escape route. You're not committed to this marriage at all, are you? I started seeing a therapist. Dr. Morrison listened to everything, then said quietly, Maya, what you're describing is financial abuse and emotional manipulation. Have you considered that this might not be a healthy situation? But they're family, I whispered. Ryan's mother has no one else. And Ryan loves me. He just wants to feel secure. Does he make you feel secure? Do you feel loved? Or do you feel controlled? I couldn't answer that. Then came the documents. I came home from work one day to find Patricia at my kitchen table with a stack of papers. Oh, perfect. You're home. Ryan and I found a wonderful lawyer who can help us add his name to the deed. Very simple process. All you need to do is sign here, here, and here. She pushed a pen toward me. I never agreed to this. Well, you're agreeing now. Unless you want to keep hurting your husband. Is that what you want, Maya? To hurt him? I picked up the papers. They weren't just about adding Ryan's name. There was a quitclaim deed that would transfer 50% of the house to Ryan. And another document about selling the property if both parties agree. I'm not signing these. Patricia's face went hard. Ryan, she yelled. Ryan, get in here. Ryan appeared. Patricia held up the papers. She refuses. Your own wife refuses to make you feel like this is your home. What kind of marriage is this? Maya, Ryan's voice was tight. Just sign the papers. No, you're being selfish. This is my home too. This is my house. My parents left it to me. Your parents are dead, he shouted. When are you going to stop using them as an excuse to shut me out? I grabbed my purse and walked out. I drove to the nearest coffee shop and sat there shaking. Then I called Dr. Morrison. Maya, listen to me very carefully, she said. What they're doing is not legal. You cannot be coerced into signing over your property. You need a lawyer, and you need to document everything. The next day, I consulted with an attorney. She listened to my story and said, get cameras, hidden cameras, Record everything. Start keeping a journal. Save every text, every email. And if they try to force you to sign anything again, call the police. I installed hidden cameras in every room except the bathroom. Tiny ones, hard to see. Then, I waited. 2 weeks later, I was working late in my home office. I heard Patricia in the kitchen, talking on the phone. No, she still hasn't signed. I know. Ryan's working on it. Well, if she won't cooperate, we might have to get creative. There are ways to make a document look legal. I have a friend who knows someone. Once her name is off and Ryan's is on, we can sell it and split the money. No, she won't know until it's too late. She's at work 12 hours a day. She barely pays attention to anything. My blood went cold. She was planning to forge documents to steal my house. I took the recording to my lawyer. This is evidence of attempted fraud, she said. But we need more. Keep recording. Build your case. Over the next 6 months, I collected evidence. Patricia talking about forging my signature, Ryan discussing how they could legally force me to sell, Patricia going through my personal files, photographing my bank statements, my deed, my documents, and I pretended to be weak. I cried when Patricia demanded money. I apologized when Ryan yelled. I played the part of the beaten-down wife while my cameras recorded everything. Then came Ryan's family reunion. 40 people gathered at Ryan's aunt's house in San Jose. The whole Park family tree. I'd been dreading it for weeks. Patricia had been making ominous comments. Big announcement at the reunion, she kept saying with that smile. We walked in, and Patricia immediately pulled Ryan aside. I watched them whisper, watched her hand him something, then she clinked her glass. Everyone! I have wonderful news to share. After months of Maya being selfish and stubborn, she's finally agreed to sign the house over to Ryan. They're going to sell it and buy something together, as a proper married couple should. Isn't that wonderful? The room erupted in applause. I stood there, frozen. I never agreed to that, I said clearly. The room went quiet. Patricia's smile never wavered. Oh, Maya, don't be modest. You told Ryan just this morning. That's a lie. Ryan stepped forward, his face red. Maya, don't do this here. Do what? Tell the truth? I never agreed to sell my house. I never agreed to sign anything. Enough! Ryan grabbed my arm, his fingers digging in. You're embarrassing me in front of my entire family. Let go of me. Not until you stop this ridiculous scene. My mother went to all this trouble to celebrate you finally doing the right thing, and you're going to stand here and call her a liar? I'm calling her what she is. A manipulator who's been trying to steal my house for months. Patricia gasped, her hand flying to her chest. How dare you? After everything I've done for you, everything I've sacrificed, this is how you repay me? Ryan's grip tightened. Apologize to my mother. Right now. No. His free hand came up fast. He ripped my phone from my purse and smashed it on the tile floor. The screen shattered into pieces. You don't talk to my mother that way. You don't disrespect her in front of our family. Do you understand me? Ryan, you're hurting me. I'll show you hurt, Patricia shrieked. She lunged forward and slapped me hard across the face. The crack echoed in the suddenly silent room. Ungrateful bitch. After I opened my home to you, treated you like a daughter, this is how you treat me? I stumbled back, my cheek burning. Ryan's aunt, emboldened by wine and family loyalty, grabbed a wine bottle from the table and swung it at my head. It connected with my temple. Pain exploded. I felt blood, hot and wet, running down my face. The room tilted, and I smiled. You shouldn't have done that, I said quietly. Oh, yeah? Patricia sneered. What are you going to do about it? Call the police? They're not going to believe you over all of us. We all saw you attack first. Isn't that right, everyone? Murmurs of agreement rippled through the family. I pulled out my iPad from my bag, the one that had been live streaming the entire reunion to my lawyer's cloud server, the one that had captured every word, every slap, every threat. Actually, I already called them. They're on their way. And so is my lawyer. And I've been recording everything for the past 6 months. Every conversation about forging documents, every plan to steal my house, every threat, all of it. Patricia's face went white. You're bluffing. I turned the iPad around, showing the live feed. There was Ryan grabbing my arm. There was Patricia slapping me. There was the aunt with the wine bottle. I've also been recording all the financial abuse. Patricia's $15,000 medical bill that she could have paid herself but claimed she couldn't. The $2,000 coat she charged to my credit card. The conversations about how to manipulate me, how to make me feel guilty, how to isolate me from my friends and control my finances. All recorded, all time-stamped, all with video and audio. Ryan lunged for the iPad, but I pulled it back. It's already uploaded. You can't delete it. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Patricia's voice shook. You can't do this. I'm Ryan's mother. We're family. No, I said, touching the blood on my face. You're criminals who saw a lonely orphan and thought you could take everything she had, but you were wrong. The police arrived. I showed them the live recording. I showed them the assault, the threats, the admission of attempted fraud. I gave them access to 6 months of documentation. They arrested Ryan for assault and attempted coercion. They arrested Patricia for assault, attempted fraud, and conspiracy. They arrested the aunt for assault with a weapon. Ryan's family stood there, speechless, as their golden boy was handcuffed. You have no idea what you've done, Patricia hissed as they led her away. You've destroyed this family. No, I said. I saved myself. The next 3 months were a blur of lawyers, court dates, and restraining orders. Ryan tried to fight the divorce, claiming I'd abandoned him. The judge looked at the evidence and granted the divorce in 15 minutes. Patricia tried to claim the assault was justified, that I'd provoked her. The prosecutor played the recordings. She was convicted of assault and attempted fraud, sentenced to 18 months in prison, suspended to probation with the condition she never contact me again. Ryan took a plea deal. Assault, 6 months in county jail, 3 years probation, and he had to sign a document relinquishing any claim to my house, my property, anything I owned. The aunt got community service and anger management classes. I changed every lock in the house. I painted over the rooms Patricia had claimed. I put my mother's photos back up. I planted bluebirds in the garden, like the ones on Mom's apron that Patricia had ruined. And I was free. It's been a year now. I still see Dr. Morrison. I've reconnected with friends I'd isolated myself from during the marriage. I've started dating again, though I'm taking it very, very slow. People ask me why I stayed so long. Why I didn't leave after the first red flag, or the 10th, or the 100th. The truth is, I wanted family so badly that I convinced myself abuse was love. I wanted to belong so desperately that I accepted being controlled. And I was so afraid of being alone again that I tolerated people who saw me as a resource to exploit, not a person to love. But I learned something important. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. And being lonely is infinitely better than being abused. I learned that silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Those 6 months of recording, of documenting, of quietly building my case while they thought I was broken, that was the strongest thing I've ever done. I learned that real family doesn't demand you sacrifice yourself. Real love doesn't keep score. Real partnership doesn't require one person to lose everything so the other can win. And I learned that the house my parents left me wasn't just walls and a roof. It was their final gift, their way of making sure I'd always be safe, always have a home, always have something that was mine and mine alone. Patricia tried to take that from me. Ryan tried to manipulate me into giving it away. But in the end, I'm sitting here in my mother's kitchen, in my father's house, and it's mine. Completely, legally, irrevocably mine. I won. Not because I was stronger or smarter or braver than they were, but because I finally learned that I was worth fighting for. And that's a lesson worth $800,000, worth 6 months of documentation, worth every terrifying moment in that house with people who hated me. I'm Maya Chen. I'm 30 years old. I'm a survivor. And I'm home.